Hey guys, Jasmine here. Welcome to another Wednesday teaching. We gather together every Wednesday right here to learn how to love God, love His story, and live devoted together. I don't know about you, but things feel a little crazy right now, and they feel a little scary, and they feel very uncertain. And we're in the middle of a study right now in this community for Lent. And we've been digging into the Gospels, taking one at a time. We've done Mark, and now we're in the middle of Luke, actually finishing up Luke. And we're looking at that question, why do we need Jesus? And in these times of um, illness and uncertainty and quarantine and all sorts of weird stuff that we've just not experienced before. We circle back around to that question. Not even the question, but like the question becomes a statement. Why do we need Jesus? We need Jesus. Personally, I need Jesus to help deal with the fear of it all. I need Jesus to calm me down. And so today, as we dig into a passage from the back half of the Gospel of Luke, I hope that this is not only encouraging in the big picture of why we need Jesus, but that in the right now, that it speaks peace, to us. So I'm going to read a short passage from Luke 22. This is a familiar passage, and it's one that we often bring up in times of suffering. Jesus is about to go to the cross. He's about to be betrayed. And right now, in chapter 22, verses 39 through 46, Jesus is in the Garden of the Garden of Gethsemane, and he is praying. He is taking some time to talk with his Father about everything that's happening and everything that's about to happen. So we're going to jump in, and then I'll share a few thoughts. So Luke chapter 22, starting in verse 39. He, Jesus, went out and made his way as usual to the Mount of Olives, and the disciples followed him. When he reached the place, he told them, "Pray that you may not fall into temptation." Then he withdrew from them about a stone's throw, knelt down, and began to pray, "Father, if you are willing, take this cup away from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done." Then an angel from heaven appeared to him, strengthening him. Being in anguish, he prayed more fervently, and his sweat became like drops of blood falling to the ground. When he got up from prayer and came to his disciples, he found them sleeping, exhausted from their grief. "Why are you sleeping?" he asked them. "Get up and pray, so that you won't fall into temptation." I love this picture of Jesus. It's hard to read, and it's hard because in some ways I do relate. That desperation when you know you're facing something scary, when you know you're facing something hard. And those words don't even begin to describe what Jesus was about to experience in being crucified. But he is on his knees, he's on his face, praying so fervently that God would take away this suffering, that he would not have to endure it. It's comforting because sometimes I feel like as a Christian, I mean, we're told we're going to have struggles and we're going to suffer. But I feel like sometimes I think of suffering as something that, I don't know, that is almost required to be a good Christian. Yet we see Jesus asking to be delivered from the suffering that he's about to face. And that just gives me comfort in two ways. First, I'm allowed to put that request before God. I got an email this morning. It was a devotional from another devotional source. And part of the devotional was related to how do you handle coronavirus as a Christian. And one of the points the author made was that we need to pray for wisdom over protection. And while I agree for that, I'm also like, I'm going to pray for protection too. I'm going to ask the Lord to deliver us from that because He is a God who does deliver. Um, but also, we might have to suffer in this for a little while. And God provides the strength for that. God provides the peace for that. So, why do we need Jesus? He knows how to. He knows about suffering. Um, he knows what it is to want to escape the suffering and still press into God. I'm going to receive your will. What I know what I'm asking, but I will take whatever you give. Um, and that's not to say God is causing this, but I do believe God will use it like He uses any kind of suffering. He uses suffering to draw us closer to Himself, um, to revive the church, to draw people that have never known His love before. So I guess I just want to offer that to you in this season, however long it lasts, whatever the next several weeks or months look like. We have a Savior who knows suffering intimately, who asked to be delivered from it, um, and who endured it, who endured the suffering. So, as we march on forward, I pray you encounter God honestly, and I pray that you recognize His presence, even in the midst of all of this.